Alright, so there we are. It's me and my oldest kid, and we had just come out of the subway after the longest bus ride, subway ride, underground jaunt through these labyrinth of subway tunnels, and we come out into this dark city where nobody speaks our language and we don't speak their language, and we're not familiar with anything other than how we need to walk to our hotel. And there's these thunderous booms. And I've been around a lot of booms. I usually know what gunfire sounds like, what bombs sound like, and other explosives, and what fireworks sound like. And these definitely sounded like mean, angry explosions, right? So I'm like, we're right on the border of North Korea. It's finally happening, and dang it, we're here. What a bad time to come visit this city. Freak out, right? But I have my kid with me. So I'm like, oh, yes, son. I don't know what that could be. Maybe they're loading rocks and one fell out. Well, maybe we should walk a little quicker to the hotel. Yeah, then we can have dinner or something. But inside I'm like, it's war. Ah. Alright, hey, we're gonna try something new. I've been talking about all this boring stuff, other videos on my channel about Navy paperwork and stuff, right? So, I've been a lot of places. I'm gonna try to review some of the places I've been. And I came up with this rating system that I made all by myself. And it talks about 5 categories, right? The cost, and it rates from 1 to 10. 1 being it's way too expensive, and 10 being it's stupid cheap, right? That scale actually goes, 1 is unfathomably, I can write it but I can't say it, unfathomably expensive. 4 is expensive like a ski resort town, right? It's like, oh, this is expensive. 6, average, like Midwest town, $3 gallon of milk or whatever it is now in the States. It's like $9 here. And then a 10 being just dirt cheap, just how I gave you pennies and you gave me this shiny new car. Crazy, right? All right, next category is cleanliness. 1 being it's a landfill, it's gross. Blech. 4, average U.S. city, dirty, but it is what it is. 6, Midwest U.S. town, right? It's clean, people take pride in what they do. And 10 I put the city of Oz, right? You watch the Wizard of Oz, and the city was stupid clean and shiny and had the big head. Just because it has a 10 doesn't mean there's a big head. Moving on. Next category is transportation, public transportation. 1 being they don't have public transportation, 10 being they have the best public transportation. Next category, things to do, attractions, sites, whatever you want to call it. Fun. 1 being this is nonsense. It's like we should have just visited a cornfield. It would have been more fun. 10 being I could spend my whole life here and not do all the fun things. And the last category is welcomeness. If you've traveled before, you understand some places are like, yeah, tourists, we love you. And some places are like, no, tourists, get out of here. So 1 on that scale is going to be not safe. You're not safe to be there. I know we know places like that. And a 10 is they basically adopt you. Like it's a genuine love for these foreigners visiting. That's the scale. So I'm gonna go through. This time we're talking about Seoul, South Korea. Seoul, Korea. If you talk to them locally, they don't consider it South Korea. They just are Korea. Did a trip there recently. We'll cover all these 5 categories, and at the end we'll have a final score, right? All right. So let's talk about the cost. So it really wasn't that bad. So we, unfortunately, I'm gonna preface this cool video with a little bit, right? We weren't there that long, although I've been there before, but this trip that we're going to talk about today, we weren't there that long, just 3-4 days. And my pictures, I wasn't planning on doing anything like this. So in the future, as I continue to travel, I'm going to take videos and make it better. But the pictures are just like for the family album. But we're going to get there. These videos are going to get awesome, and you're going to love them, and you're going to always just come back and watch them. Even though you've seen them, you're going to want to watch them more. Anyway, moving on. Seoul, South Korea, the cost. So if you go like regular shopping out in town, in the chain stores, the restaurants, stuff like that, really it's not too much difference. After the conversion, it's not going to be too much different than an average town in the US. Maybe not a Midwest, maybe a little bit more expensive of a city, but it's not that different. But if you go out to like the local markets, not the chain stores, but like the little huts that are selling stuff, and you get the street food and you do the cool things in the dark alleys, then it gets super cheap, right? And that's where all the cooler things are, and the food is way better. Yes, there's a risk that you'll die of dysentery, but it's totally worth it because the food's amazing. I've done it lots. I've never died of dysentery. I did, as mentioned in a previous video, die once, but it had nothing to do with dysentery. So what did I rate that for cost? I gave it a 5.5. It's average, right? It's a little bit high, but the markets bring it down low. Not dirt cheap, like pennies for a car like we talked about, but pretty cheap. So averages out at 5.5. All right, moving on. Next category is cleanliness. It's kind of the same thing. In the popular areas, like the chain areas, the malls, it's super clean. People are fancy. There's that Gangnam, the song Gangnam Style. I don't know, that might be a copyright thing. Anyway. There's a district, the Gangnam district, and that's where we stayed, and that's like the fancy, they have like embassies and fancy cars and all kinds of stuff there, and it's very clean. But then again, you go down in the markets where the good food, the dysentery, and the fun things are, and it's less clean. So for cleanliness, we gave it a 7, because overall it's pretty darn clean. It's cleaner than San Francisco, even in the worst spots. All right, transportation. Funny story with the transportation that we'll get to in a minute, but the transportation is pretty good. I was there years ago, like 15 years ago. Nothing was in English. It was terrifying, but the people were super nice and they helped us through it. Now, when we were just there this year, everything's in English. It's real easy to do. The tickets are easy to get. You can buy like these little cards and you just swipe it. It's stupid cheap. It's stupid easy. But use caution, because the subway doors, when they close, they are closing. It don't matter what you do, they're closing. So I'm used to some cities in the States, right, where you put something in the door and it'll be like, I can't close, I'll open for safety so I don't like tear parts of your body off and traumatize people. South Korea, Seoul don't care. Those doors are closing, right? So it was myself, my oldest son, and one of our friends. And we were at our stop, and there's this friendly little Seoul man standing right in front of the door, and he didn't move. And I was trying to be polite and respect, his space, but he was just standing at the open door, staring out like he was looking over a beautiful field and just taking it all in. Well, eventually I realized he's not gonna move. I gotta go around him. And the door started to close when I started to make my move. So I had the big suitcase and I slammed it in the door. And the door's like, it's gonna close. And I was like, no, door is gonna beat me. And I pushed, and eventually I got the door like paused for a moment. It stopped, and I was like, tss. And I had so much force pushing my bag and myself into this door that when it did that little pause, it didn't open. It was just like, what? Just a little bit. I flew out onto my face on the platform, and then before I could even turn my head around, the door was like, go, get out of here, right? And I looked, and my boy's face, he's a young man, right? He's not a tiny child, not like a baby. He's a young man, and he's like, this drain just spit my dad out, and I'm all alone. I knew my friend was there. It was all right, right? Common sense. They go to the next platform and come around. But the subway train door did try to kill me and did literally spit me onto my face on the platform. People were real nice. Some guy had helped me up, and he was like, oh man, are you okay? You could see on his face he thought I was a crazy person. But I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's kamsahamnida. Thank you. That's my version of thank you. I think it sounds really, really accurate, but they might not. All right, but transportation is awesome. I rated it at 8.5 because it's amazing. The deduction is just because it gets a little violent at times. At rush hour in the busy places, it can get really busy. and you have to plan, like, your stop, and you have to start to work your way towards the door before your stop. But I think that's any busy city. All right, things to do. Again, disclaimer, right? We weren't there for very long. We did have certain things that we wanted to do, and there's no way we could have done them all. There's so much to see and do. There's museums, there's beautiful gardens, there's the DMZ, which it's pretty cool. We did the DMZ. The tour guides that we had were amazing. They were hilarious. We got to go like drink North Korean beer and go in a tunnel that goes up to North Korea. They didn't let you go up there. I was bummed out because they said they would, but it didn't happen. But it was really cool. There's tons to do, and we could have spent weeks longer there and had something to do every day. I gave that a 7.5 for things to do. And welcomeness. Better than average. The people were very nice, very helpful. You didn't get the feeling that they were impatient with you or didn't want you there or anything. But it wasn't like it was when I was there a long time ago. Then it was kind of like you were like family. Everyone just loved you. Now it's more big city, very, very welcoming. Don't get me wrong, just not quite as friendly as it used to be. I gave that a 7. So we put all of this together, add those up. We got cost 5.5, cleanliness 7, transportation 8.5, things to do 7.5, and welcomeness 7. Put it in the sweet calculator, and it spits out a score, bing, 71. And you should be seeing, if I do this right, there'll be a graphic with a gauge. 71. That's what I give Seoul, South Korea. It was a blast. 10 out of 10 recommend. Would do it again. It was lots of fun. And yeah, if something about this process was crazy and you didn't like it, put that in the comments. I can tweak it a little bit. Maybe we should mix up these categories or the way we rate them. Put that in there. Any recommendations? And we're gonna keep doing these. I've got a few locations. I'll try to put one of these travel ones out every week, along with my super awesome, boring Navy paperwork ones every week. But yeah, let me know what you want. Oh, the story, right? Back to the beginning. We come out of the booms, like the feel it in your chest booms that gives you it. I don't know, everyone reacts differently, right? But for me, it like gives me goosebumps and makes my nipples hard, and I know we're in danger when you get that feeling and you hear this sound. But my kid's there, and you can see he's like, oh, should I be concerned? So you have to be like, no, everything's fine. Yes, my nipples are razor hard right now because I'm terrified inside, but it's fine. Let's just go get some noodles at the casino. And what I didn't say before is other people, like the locals, are coming out of their businesses and their domiciles, and they're like, what are those booms? But in Korean, and some of them, like internally, it didn't come out, but you could tell everyone was concerned. So that's kind of my gauge. If I'm in some place I'm not familiar with and I get concerned, I look around, cool, no one else is concerned, this is fine. But when you look around and everyone else is like, oh, what is happening? Then that's even more alarms. Anyway, we go to our hotel, which just happens to be on a military base. Very nice resort, the Dragon Hill Lodge or whatever it's called. Super nice, in a little Navy base, or Army base. So we get up there, get to our room, look out the window, and it is the biggest fireworks I've ever seen in my life. Just whole night sky. Even in the hotel, you can feel it in your chest. And I was like, see, son, what did I tell you? Everything's fine. But at the same time, I peed a little bit in relief. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Bye.